Philadelphia. Hello, everybody. I am John Barchard. I am wonderfully dressed in our Bell and the Birdmen hoodie, along with this, I don't know, maybe call me a lumberjack as well. Vince Quinn, how are you, sir? Taylor Credatus in the internet ether out there somewhere, and we are rocking and rolling on a Wednesday. We apologize for the delay, but we were having a little, maybe too much fun on Broad Street, and and I'm okay with it. So we got a lot of takes, we got a lot of fun, and Vince Quinn, have you been noticing all this this doubt that we predicted what was going to happen, and now it's just like every other day there's like a thing that is doubting the Eagles, the quarterback, the coach. Welcome to it, everybody.
Yeah, and it starts with all these loser 49ers fans with all these bullshit, miserable, like, Jalen Hurts, if Brock Purdy was healthy. No, he fucking wasn't. He was not going to win that game. You were not going to win that game. The Eagles were the better team. They showed you that throughout the game. You lost, what, like 31-7? I mean, what are we talking about? It's
on the ground, you lost 31-7. Like,
It's fine. It's like, yeah, like this was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? Like Brock Purdy was an unexpected thing. He's a limited player, and he couldn't go, and they fell apart. And it is what it is. Like the fact that they can't acknowledge that the Eagles are a good team, I get losing that way because you didn't get to see a full game. But to say the Eagles aren't good and they're not deserving, and they haven't only lost one game all season with Jalen Hurts as their starting quarterback, what else do they need to do? You know, it's like, what else did this team have to do to actually prove to people that they're as good as we've known they've been all year long? 38 points against the Giants, 31 points this week. I don't know what the spread is for the game against Kansas City, but I'll just tell you, for me, eyeing this up, they're the better team. I mean, I fully expect the Eagles to go and win the Super Bowl here. They're just a better roster, and the fact that Mahomes is hurt makes it even easier. So people are just going to doubt this team, and it's the best thing that could happen to them. Honestly, I can't think of a better situation.
I actually am we'll get to the quarterback in a second, but I think Taylor tweeted this out, and he's dead on right. I actually think that doubt starts with how good Hassan Reddick is, first and foremost, which I cast doubt, I think, in the offseason. You've reminded me of that beautifully. Not as much as I've reminded you about Russell Wilson, but still.
Who?
I've never heard of him. He's that guy that Sean Payton's going to have fun with. I feel like, I looked at Hassan Reddick and I just saw speed, and I saw the ability to get to the quarterback in open lanes and defensive lines helping him out most of the time. I didn't really consider him close to a Micah Parsons guy, which everybody was flaunting over. But, man, I was even like, I don't know. Would it be ridiculous to go and say he basically is what Micah Parsons should be in terms of all that? Because that's what he's shown us this year. He's not a linebacker. He's not an edge. He is a defensive tool that, like, you can put anywhere and you're going to get great results. And to those San Francisco fans that probably didn't think Hassan Reddick was that good, both of your quarterbacks went down because of him, basically. And your offense didn't even believe he was that much of a threat going into it. So that's a huge mistake. Then Vince Quinn told you 2 weeks ago that they know you can't throw the ball downfield. So what do you think is going to happen? Everyone that's trying to remove credit away starts with that guy because he disrupted the entire game in 6 plays. And that's why you paid him. That's why you paid him long term. Shame on me for not understanding Jonathan Gannon's big brain and where he's going to put him and how it's going to gel at the end of the season. But you're talking about all those guys, including Brandon Graham, having a career year, which also just kind of goes, yeah, that's great. Just because there's so many great things about this team, and everything is so focused on hating the quarterback and coach that let them, fuck them. This is a great spot for the Philadelphia Eagles to be, and Jason and Kelsey has told you this himself. If the media thinks that they're not good, they always play better. Darius Slay said that this week too. They're looking. They knew what the 49ers said. They're trying to be respectful going into a game, and the moment that they hear disrespect, like Nick Bosa and his stupid-ass brother that got his ass kicked verbally the entire game, you don't do that. And you're just adding to the fuel in the fire. So let it. That's why me, Vince, and Taylor are all sitting here going, yeah, get in our mentions. Yell as much as you want to. The Giants tried that shit first. Then it was the 49ers crew. And let me just say this. Chiefs fans are the worst shit talkers in the world. They have no idea what they're doing out there. They're just happy that Andy Reid's there, giving them Super Bowl appearances and eating ribs. So, like, it doesn't work. The doubt does, and these guys will be here to remind you in 11, 10, 9, 8 days whenever you're seeing or watching this. So,
yeah, they're going to be ready for this moment, and they're going to be ready to kill. And that's who they've been all year. Like all the Super Bowl stuff, that's one of those things that you worry about, right? Is, the distractions and how are they going to handle that? They're going to handle it just fine. I'm not worried about that even a little bit. For everything that this team has been through, what's there to doubt when it comes to all of that? And that's one of the great things about Jalen Hurts and the success of this team and who they are, right? It's just he's been through everything. He's incredibly calm. You've been calling him the thermostat all season. He sets the temperature, and it's completely dead on. I mean, look at Wentz, right? Who's sitting on his ass now as his second backup has made their way to the Super Bowl with his former team. Like, that guy wasn't able to play in Philly, couldn't handle all the pressure and things that went with it. He fell apart. And for Jalen Hurts, he's able to handle all of this and get better to the point where he's putting out quotes where he's like, yeah, there's all these people that didn't really want me here, and now I'm going to show them is really what he got to. I mean, it was some badass stuff that he was laying out there. He is ready for this. He's, as he said before, he's starving for it.
Who do you think he's talking to there? Because I've been ping-ponging this in my back and forth in my brain as well. Pretty much everybody he got rid of, right? Like, I remember discussing this in the offseason with you guys where, hey, Howie didn't get, like, guys' jobs, which is we'll talk about with Gannon either today or at some future point, because I think it's the same thing as happening here. Like, he fired everyone that went and saw don't draft Jalen Hurts because that's disrespectful to Carson Wentz. And I think he's talking to all the people that wanted Denzel Mims, and yes, the fan base, and that's an easy target there too. Carson Wentz, obviously, but man, like, think of this all in context. Like, I've been saying revenge tour for Jalen Hurts, and that is obviously true here. This has been the biggest fucking fuck you revenge tour for Howie Roseman, right? Like, it finally happened where I remember questioning, going, does he want to be the guy that wants to have Russell Wilson in here, or does he want to be the guy that got Carson Wentz out of here and found his replacement, found an MVP, and took him to the Super Bowl? And bingo, that's where we're at here. Howie Roseman was livid, guys, livid. And there's only two people I don't fuck with. My brother, who's motivated, and Howie Roseman when he's motivated. And those guys, when they have something in their head, get to work and start going to shop and cleaning out the house and doing exactly what needs to be done because, like, I've had enough. And the rumors about him wanting Justin Jefferson and probably getting outruled by his scouting department, or at least that it's what it sounds like to me, major fuck up after major fuck up after major fuck up. Who knows if he made the decision that he wants Carson Wentz extended or not? But he made sure that there was a way out, just like he knew that there was a way out of Chip Kelly and when he tried to destroy all that stuff too. This has been a masterful piece of work by Howie Roseman, and I don't think we understand the start to finish of this thing and the opera that he made, and now he's just sitting back with fucking brandy and cigars, kicking his feet up and going, I made this. And right back to it with all the self-doubt, like, I'm fine if you want to doubt the quarterback, and I'm fine if you want to doubt the coach. But if you think for a second that this wasn't perfectly planned from the beginning to get the results to here, you're nuts. I don't doubt Howie Roseman. I guess that's why everything worked. And people are looking at this and going, it's a weak schedule, and that's why you guys are here. This was... no one saw this coming. No one bothered to check in on Jalen Hurts as much as the Eagles did, and it's a whip. Sorry, guys, you lost a long time ago. You lost a year and a half before this NFC Championship game. So I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah, they did. Look, they've denied this the whole time. They haven't seen it, and now that it's presented in front of them again, they'd rather make excuses, say it's injuries to other teams, it is an easy schedule, rather than just admit they're wrong. And they're wrong. They're wrong about everything. They're wrong about Howie Roseman. They're wrong about Jalen Hurts. They're wrong about the quality of this roster and everything that makes this team great. Like, they're just winners. They're winners all the way through, and that's one of the cool things about Howie Roseman, because think about this too, right? What's his history? He's a Joe Banner guy. Joe Banner did nothing but get rid of players once they turned 30. That's all he did. Look at the core of this team. Who are these guys? I mean, it's fucking
at Joe Banner 13
Yeah,
from Vince Quinn.
Sorry, Joe. You like Howie learned something from your mistakes here. Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. He's held on to all of those guys. Some of those guys he's given a deal within the last year to stick around a little bit longer. I mean, Brandon Graham sticking around at 34 years old, coming off an Achilles, was a massive leap. And they went for it, and he's had the best year of his career. So it's amazing.
Fair, sports science has evolved a lot then too, and athletes have evolved since then too. And yes, but man, like I don't disagree.
These guys have been on the team for over 10 years for the most part. Like to have guys that have been around like that and they've been through a Super Bowl era, you were able to still have a window of all these guys playing at a high level to get you into another window and be centerpieces still, functional, high quality Hall of Fame players in some of these cases on your roster is nothing short of amazing. And then let's say whatever the worst case scenario is, right? Brandon Graham retires, Kelsey retires, they let Fletcher Cox go, like whatever it is, all those guys are gone. Look at the core of this team. I mean, Dallas Goedert's 25 years old, A.J. Brown, 25 years old, Devontae Smith's like 23 or 24, Jalen Hurts is 24, you're going to have Landon Dickerson right now, maybe he's 24 years old, Mailata's 24, 25, like all of these players in so many different places, Josh Sweat, Avonte Maddox, assuming they re-sign Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, you've got young players all over the place, and they've all been in a locker room that these guys built and maintained. And now you're going to be able to pass that off so gracefully. Like winning culture is a real thing, and the Eagles can just keep passing that down and passing that down and passing that down, and that's a big part of the reason why they're here as well. And that's Howie keeping these guys in.
And every single one of those young players that you mentioned, for the most point, and I'll include Howie Roseman in this, even though, yeah, he's young for a general manager, so that works in dog years or something like that. Somebody figured that out. But all of these guys are so annoying. They're annoyingly good at their jobs, and they are fucking annoyingly good at talking shit on the field. Obviously, if Trent Williams is fucking throwing you down and being like, I've had enough, and they were chippy from the start, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson is probably one of the best. I mean, I don't think it kind of like showed up in highlights, but I urge you just to go look at a little bit of film and just look at what he's doing. Almost every other snap is in somebody's ear, like begging you to get in their face to throw a flag. And I don't know how he does it, but they're all awesome at it. Jalen Hurts, too, is just annoying. And I'm not trying to make T an enemy on this podcast. But he did say to me, he did think Jalen Hurts played a bad game. So I just want to make sure you want to stand by that statement, but because then my points after that. Did he have a bad game on Sunday, in your opinion, T?
For Jalen Hurts' standards, yeah, absolutely. Like, the throws were not great. There was a ton of throwaways. His best play really shouldn't have counted, the 4th and 3.
Shout out all the Cowboys fans trying to defend Des for years, and then we get that, by the way. I was thinking about that the other day. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, probably the best part about the game is his runs that led to him scoring the rushing touchdown. But, like, even then, like, dude, that's how you missed games. Like, you don't think these guys are pissed? You guys don't think they want to, like, make sure they get you tackled? Like, if it's not going out of bounds, I don't want him taking those chances. Like, there's too much on the line.
Yeah, and Vince, you kind of agree with that? You think Jalen played like a meh kind of game after looking back on it?
Yeah, it was a mad game for his standards. I mean, the guy, he's been an MVP of the league if he didn't miss a couple of games. So, yeah, it definitely wasn't an impressive game. Part of that was San Francisco was really good. Part of it was he was off, and I think it took him a long time to really feel comfortable in the pocket and making throws down the field. So, yeah, he didn't play well. But the thing is, a mad game for Jalen Hurts. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he still makes generally positive plays. So, you can't kill the guy. Like, that's how good he is. He has an off game, and they still score 31 points. I mean, it's unbelievable. And the Kansas City matchup's only going to be easier. So I have no reason to think it's going to be a problem again.
And that's my whole point in this, is because they're annoying. The Eagles' offensive line is so good that Jalen Hurts is going to continue to annoy you, because there's also 700 pounds of force behind his legs as well. And no one wants, again, this is what happens with quarterbacks, especially when they're developing and young. And like, he's taken an amazing leap. He's still clearly injured. He has said that out loud. He is still not going to be as crisp on those downfield throws. And I think that's what we saw against San Francisco too. And yet they are able to turn and flip the script. Yes, with some penalties that are in there, and you know, it happens in every game. But they go out there and dominate, and he does too once he gets warmed up and once he gets his legs going. And like, you're going to have an off day. And I don't even know if it was an off day against the Giants or it was just easier to run the football. I think that's what Jalen doesn't give a shit. Jalen doesn't care. He just go win the football game. Hey, if it's not me and I don't have it throwing, or if San Francisco is there, let's turn on the Jets and clobber these dudes. And the only reason why they're allowed to get away with that is because the offensive line. 100% agree. But it doesn't take away Jalen Hurts' ability to literally do everything else as a quarterback. It's just not as sharp, and it's not going to be as crisp. And I would say the biggest thing from Sunday, that if he just stayed in the pocket for an extra second or two, I think he would have felt more comfortable. But that tells me as well that like, he's very conscious of getting hit, and I whatever. Like, I would rather have you healthy and make mistakes by breaking your own pocket and getting to the next play than doing anything else. And that's what pisses everybody off. He's too fucking smart. And like you say, Vince Quinn, it's not Lamar, it's not Patrick, it's not Joe, it's not all these guys being like, wow. They can't understand that there's this developing smart quarterback who's elite at running the football still. And until the other part of his game comes to his prime, when he's 26 and 27, where he can utilize his arm more than his legs, or vice versa, or equally, this is going to continue to be annoying, and it's going to continue to create immense doubt, and I welcome all of it.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of 49ers comments that I saw where it was like, well, he's still a running back that's playing quarterback. Shut up, losers. I mean, what a pathetic thing to say. You clearly haven't watched him play football all year, and that's fine. But you can't look at a guy like that and say he's just a running back when you're playing with Brock Purdy. He's throwing the ball 12 yards down the field to guys that are wide open, and they're getting yards after the catch. Like, what is Brock Purdy then? Let's evaluate that. So the whole thing's stupid. Yeah, Jalen just gets better. And one of the big storylines going into this year, I mean, look, second year in the system, right? Like, they gave him a second year. He kept all this staff together. Most of this staff, it looks like, for now, is going to carry over to next year. He's going to get better. So it's amazing to think that this is where he is right now. This is where this team is right now. They should be able to navigate the cap fine enough. We can get into that a little bit later in the next couple of weeks. But this team's going to be really fucking good, and he's only getting better, man. It's awesome. Yeah, and I do want to make now that we've killed every other fan base, there is something I'd like to ask you guys, because it blows my mind that we don't think of it in this context. I want to cleanse your palate, though, so please go to liquiddeath.com/bell, because, you know, as we always say, the severed lime for me, the mango for Vince, and basically, I don't even know what Taylor's drinking these days, but it's pretty much all of them, because they keep sending more, and it is still, yeah. What are you on right now, Taylor? What's your favorite Liquid Death flavor going?
Oh, the lime, especially on Sunday with some of that tequila.
Oh my God, yeah, and I needed a lot of that, because I don't know how a lot of bourbon got into my glass, Vince Quinn, but
don't worry about my
Vince
hands.
Quinn.
Don't worry about it.
It made for a very interesting post-game show, and if I didn't have the Liquid Death lime and a little bit of coffee, let's be honest with you, I probably would have been even more of a mess. So not only does it taste great, it fulfills every part of liquidating and murdering your thirst and making sure you have valid thoughts like this one. I would say that it's surprising to me how much we looked at one instance in Donovan McNabb's career, because it was so heavily publicized on ESPN and the Dirty 30 and Angelo and all that. Don't you think what Jalen's been through the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, including all the shit that we just talked about previously, like with that, this guy was hated or not thought of as a player that's going to be here for a year or more. Even coming into this season, you can all smile and say, I wasn't one of those people now, but like, there was on record, very heavy doubt that this kid would be able to throw a football. And a lot of people saying, oh, there's nothing saying that he's going to get better, which was like mind-blowing to me. If you follow his college career up until now, there's lots of little things to look at and see. So how is it that we are probably still to this day and for the end of time going to bring up Donovan McNabb was booed, and we will probably never, ever hear again? No one thought Jalen Hurts could be a quarterback for a year in the city of Philadelphia. Explain that to me.
Well,
how is that never going to come up again?
You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem is people don't like McNabb now, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So they look back and they're like, I mean, maybe he had a great career. 5 conference championship games. Maybe he had a great career, but fuck that guy. We should have booed him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just revisionist history, and that's why people like T.O. these days, even though they hated his guts when he left the city. Because of McNabb and how they felt about McNabb. It just changed everything. So for Jalen, yeah, he's becoming like an icon in this city, and people aren't going to want to acknowledge it as much. And plus, it's not as big of a vocal moment because they draft him, but he's a second-round pick. It's not as vocal in the moment with him on stage. You know what I mean? Like, McNabb was one of the top picks in the draft. So when it's everybody watching and he's on TV and the whole city is booing him, it feels like, for people that were there and watching on TV, that sticks. I mean, here's the thing for me with McNabb that I always think is interesting, and it's worth saying because Tom Brady retired today. The Patriots cheated and cost him a Super Bowl. I mean, they did. Like, they cheated and cost him a Super Bowl. You can say the same thing about Andy Reid, Brian Dawkins, all these other guys. I mean, as much as we talk about them this week and these next 2 weeks, they got cheated out of a Super Bowl. They lost by 3 to a team that won 3 Super Bowls. They cheated through that entire era. It is well documented. They were sanctioned for it. And ultimately, they got away with it. So, like, how is it the McNabb comparisons? I would wonder if McNabb did win a Super Bowl. I mean, it's.
I don't know. It might have changed everything. Who knows? McNabb might have stayed in Philadelphia or whatever it is. But I don't envision Jalen wanting to leave Philadelphia if he has the choice. I don't see where, like, he has done everything right. He is, for the most part, for some reason, like, earned the respect of the city simply just by being him and, doing that whole Zen stuff of just like, I can't control what other people think about me. I'm just going to go do the work that I need to do. I've been through this before. This is probably nothing else than I've heard from Alabama, and it's just like how they handled both situations and what they were given. I guess it's just because I feel so fucking disgusted because everyone talked me out of booing the Carson Wentz pick because of McNabb and because they said, hey, you don't want to make the same mistake twice and do all this, when I'm sitting here going, that's a 3rd-round pick and you're going to drift in the 1st round and it's going to drive me nuts. Like, what are we doing here? I was freaking out, and then I was like, you know what? Okay. We just went through Sam Bradford. I'm probably not seeing this right. I will not boo Carson Wentz. Well, boy, oh boy, was I in the fucking wrong there. Like, it's just, and so was everybody else. So it's just like, man, I'll never think it's enough just because of what Jalen has gone through in this fan base. I don't think we have sat there and admitted that, and everyone's gun shy about, like, why are you bringing that up now, bro? Like, everybody likes him. Yeah, but we treated him like shit for a year. And he said they, encompassing, meaning the front office, us, all that. And I think that's very valid. Don't ask for an apology. I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying recognize that you fucked up really bad. And it's not enough for me. I don't know what to do with that, but I'm just saying it's pretty crazy to me that we would still want to kill Donovan McNabb to his day for a lot of different reasons, but like, we just kind of passed by that we treated Jalen like shit for like a year straight.
Yeah, I mean,
and now we're his best friend.
For September for a lot of people, and then for other people, I mean, what, 8-0 was maybe when they flipped that Jalen was really good? Like, I mean, there was still resistance for a while because people that you see first couple of games, they win all of those games and they're like, well, yeah, but A.J. Brown, and you know what I mean? Like, it just... You just don't want to give it to him. And that's what it's been this whole year, his whole career, everything with Howie. And it just lines up, man. Like, that's what's so cool about it. It's all these guys that have just been thrown aside or dismissed for one reason or another. They're all figuring it out right now on a level that nobody seems to be able to stop, and I don't think they will. I mean, it's very likely Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl with 1 loss this whole year, which is amazing. Amazing.
You hear that, Chris Sims? Not that anybody cares anymore, but like, you know, Taylor brought up today that he flipped the script and apologized and all this stuff. Like, who cares? I don't even know what the point of that is at this point. The guy that like. First of all, this fan base didn't think he was going to throw. Then it goes to, well, you're not going to, just like you said, well, he's not going to win 8 games in a row. Well, it won't be 13. Well, it's not this. Well, I haven't done this yet. Well, he hasn't won a playoff game. Well, he hasn't won 2 playoff games. Well, he hasn't won the Super Bowl. So it's just like, Jesus Christ. You keep moving that doubt line until like there is no possible way. I would have, if Chris Sims, fuck you, I would have held on to that take. You should have been the next Merrill Hodge. You remember when Merrill Hodge used to do that? Somebody pointed that out on Twitter. I was like, oh, yeah, Merrill Hodge used to play that ESPN role all the time, and he was really up the Falcons' ass, I think, going into that same Super Bowl year, and would just kill the Eagles. Like, they're not going to do it. They're not as good as Michael Vick and all this other stuff, and he just kept playing it up and playing it up. And I think that's what Chris Sims is here, except he's dead serious about it. You know, like, why would you flip now and say he's a top 10? Like, you just made a great take.
His mentions are blowing up every single day, all day. It's Eagles fans ripping into shit, and he's tired of it. So he's just like, yeah, fine. I'm wrong about it, even though he probably still believes deep down that he's right. I think he's just admitting defeat for the sake of trying to move on.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know. You think that's going to work, Taylor? I don't think that's going to work at all. You can't
he doesn't care. That's his lane. He just rips whatever quarterback he doesn't think is good enough. He's been doing this for as long as he's been on NBC, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know. No one gets my apologies. Sorry, like not for a couple of years. And you're more than welcome to jump on board. And I'm not gonna treat anyone different if you want to get on the bandwagon. But if you ever utter the words, I always like Jalen. That's like I was at Bills Oilers 1992 for the comeback or whatever, and somehow everybody was at that game. So I don't want to hear that shit. I'm just saying, like, I think we have. Even with all these gifts, even with all this wonderfulness, we have put major doubt on Howie Roseman, even this year. And I'm even mad at that son of a bitch that did put up that sign. And where was that? In Texas? You're forgiven, Howie, for getting it? Fuck you, man. Like, no way. And if you have got to, like, go to the far ends of the earth to go on some weird tangent like Jalen Hurts in this offensive line and this just doesn't exist, or like Jalen needs help. Yeah, no shit, dumbass. Like, of course he does, because he's not the best quarterback in the world, but his ability to keep getting better and his ability overall, you put those two things together, that's all you fucking need. And he's a real one, not one of those coach speak like, yeah, this guy gets it, and he's a real man's man, and he's a real coach on the field, which is like Vince Quinn likes to put out all the time. Sounds like you're trying to date an ugly person, like really shining it up to be basically say he's Brock Purdy, and that's not Jalen Hurts here. And he's proven that time and time again. And Vince Quinn, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for everyone to get all fired up. I don't know. Kelsey Brothers storyline needs to stop being said. I love them to death. I just 72 hours is already enough, and they're going to talk on their podcast a lot about it. So I'd like to just hear it from them.
Yeah, I think I've seen about 35 posts already on Twitter about the Kelsey's mom, and she's wearing that jersey of Jason and Travis. It's that mixed jersey, and like, yeah, I'm over it too. So I'm already tired of it. We're all going to be incredibly tired of it. That's the Super Bowl, baby. It's the downside of the Super Bowl is you just get hammered with all these stupid storylines and interviews and whatever. But look, at the end of the day, the Eagles are going to be able to focus. We're all going to get through this, and we're going to get to the game at some point, and we're going to have a wonderful time at City Hall. So that's all I'm looking for. You just put your head down and chug through for the next 2 weeks, man. That's all it is.
Hell yeah. That sounds great. By the way, any videos catch your eye? I just wanted to say I'm incredibly biased, but I actually thought the one that Vince Quinn took and put it on our Bell the Birdmen Instagram and our TikTok, where the dude is standing up on one of the grease poles, leading one of the loudest Eagles chants on Broad Street. I thought that was so cool, and I didn't even know you could to upload it in a street filled of cell phones. So good one on you, Vince Quinn. If you haven't seen that, make sure to go join us on Instagram, because I know it's there. So good work.
Yeah, thank you. It was cool to see that, man. I mean, he's standing on top of the pole. He's on a couple of signs. He's got a giant Eagles flag behind him that's hanging off the street pole, and he's doing the chant, and everybody's in. Like, that was a cool vibe. I also saw a guy that was, like, literally crowd surfing and throwing Jello shots like crazy. So that was pretty insane. I really loved watching that. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what people do once they win the Super Bowl, man. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, we'll definitely have like a supercut of both Broad Streets and compare them side by side because I can't wait to see you there again, guys. That's where we'll be. We're gonna go from Vince's apartment on Super Bowl day. We're gonna invite some more people. We will have supposedly a very special guest, and we won't announce that until it's fully confirmed and all coming here. But it is somebody not from this country, and we're very excited for that. And we hope that we can, say that on Thursday. So
I wanted to guess Mrs. Kelsey. Damn it.
That, Mrs. Kelsey, you're always welcome to Vince Quinn's apartment. The wings are great. So I can confirm that. I will never say a bad thing about the wings of Vince Quinn. So I don't think I'll say a bad thing about you either. So, and thank you so much for listening and watching wherever you are getting this. Make sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and turn those notifications on if you're watching on YouTube, and certainly give us those 5 stars, please, wherever you're listening to this on your podcast platforms. Go buy some hats. We will have, I have seen the mock-ups, we will have a new Super Bowl shirt that I think is so fucking cool. And that is coming from our friends over at Forbidden Canvas, so make sure you're buying I'd Rather Be Watching the Birds, which is, Taylor, confirm this for me, it is just a straight-on sale. There's no promo code or anything right now, right?
Yes, no code, $8 off.
Woo!
Right now.
Damn.
That is pretty effing sweet. So a $40 hat becomes $32. All leading up to the Super Bowl. So it'll go away after that, and we appreciate your support as much as you've been pumping out. It has been amazing to get all those texts and Discord messages and all that stuff. So we will see you very soon, and there will be more content. Keep watching, keep listening, keep subscribing. Okay, bye.